Alright guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. This week we got the CJ Cup going to be played at Shadow Creek, and I don't know if you guys have seen the course yet, but this course is immaculate. I mean, this is such a beautiful course. This is probably top on my bucket list of courses to play that are not around my area. So I don't know, I'm pretty excited just to watch the coverage of this course. Just like I said, this course is so beautiful. It's just gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun to view, but this field is loaded. It is a no-cut event, which means we can't attack it as much as we kind of normally would on a normal event. But in the past 2 months, these events have actually been profitable. Typically, I like to stay away from no-cut events. And yes, I will dial down my player pool. I will dial down how much I enter this week. But it is one that you can still profit. This is one where some of the plays are sticking out. We do have some decent value plays. Do like to do that quick recap of the previous week. So last week sucked. It did. I had a bunch of my main builds destroyed by golfers shooting -5. I think one of my main builds ended up shooting 20 under par combined for the players that missed the cut, and any other week that would be a great number. Not this week. When the course plays as easy as last week did, it kind of evens the playing field. And on top of that, this was already a week where the field was loaded, where there's absolutely a ton of great plays. So it kind of really balanced the field out. But last week, I still had a really nice shot heading into Sunday with kind of my value plays. Justin Suh, Matthew Naismith, who I pointed out on last week's course plays video, those guys both top 10. I had Webb and I had Bryson in those builds. And then I believe it was Stewart Cink. Stewart Cink ended up shooting like a freaking +9 or something like that on Sunday, which really kind of destroyed that build. But there was a path to success, and I did have some lineups really kind of peaking towards a potential victory. Had a bunch finish in the top 1%, but definitely not enough to go out and win. So last week was very hit or miss with the lineups. Pretty much if you did studs and duds, you had a great week. If you didn't do that, you kind of did fair and balanced. You really struggled. We got the CJ Cup here, so let's get into it. All right, guys, so just going to be looking over key stats. This is an event where we're seeing it for the first time. Yes, Tiger and Phil played at this course for the match, but that's a very small sample size. Nothing that we can really draw any significant data conclusions from. So, the key stats that we're looking at, those could actually change throughout the week depending on what players come out and say. But this is what we're looking at right now. So total driving, kind of always like to look at that, as well as ball striking. But stroke gain approach is going to be something I'm looking at as a key stat, kind of like I was the last 2 weeks. If players are, giving themselves opportunities, that's going to set themselves up really well at a course like this. And we're going to be looking at birdie to bogey ratio as well. I think that'll be a key stat instead of like birdie or better percentage. I think that there are going to be some bogeys here, but overall, if players are making, more birdies than bogeys, they're going to be setting themselves up really well. Then I also will be looking at par 5 scoring. There are 4 par 5s, and whenever there are 4 par 5s, I typically like to look at that as a key stat. Looking at course history. So course history is not course history, and it's not event history. What we're going to be looking at is actually no-cut events. And I'm going to be looking at the last 4 no-cut events. And the players that really stand out are Justin Thomas, Xander, Daniel Berger, and Jason Day as well. The first 2, not really surprising. Those 2 always seem to dominate on no-cut events. Heck, JT has like 4 of his wins at no-cut events. So yeah, it kind of paints a picture of who typically plays well. Players that score 4 rounds are typically ones that you want to target at this event or at events like this. And then just looking at recent form, Matthew Wolff has just been a stud. Played really well last week. Xander Schauffele, DJ, we know that those guys have been playing really great golf for the last 2 months. And then Justin Thomas, yeah, he can be a little bit hit or miss sometimes, but overall he's been playing some great golf as well. But let's get into the picks for this week. All right, so getting to the player pool, I really do like the top 3 guys here, kind of the big 3 this week. Jon Rahm, Dustin Johnson, and Justin Thomas. Now, Jon Rahm, 3 of his last 4 starts at no-cut events have been top 10 finishes. He did have a 52nd finish in there as well. Been pretty solid recent form, T23, 4th, 1st, T6. So great recent form. If you want to pay up for him, you can. Same thing with DJ. Don't really see anything wrong with him. 1st, 12th, 48th, and 7th at his no-cut event history recently. And then recent form, T6, 1st, 2nd, and 1st. I mean, these 2 are top-notch plays. But the one I like the most is the lowest price one. It's going to be Justin Thomas. He's actually going to be a core play for me this week. Just dominates on no-cut events. Heck, he's a 2-time winner at the CJ Cup, which has been a no-cut event. He's had a 2nd, 1st, 6th, and 1st at his last 4 no-cut events as well. Great recent form as well. So I don't know. JT is going to be tough for me to pass up. Sure, he's not always like the best stat fit, but he typically, does well. I mean, strokes gain differential, top 10 in that. He's third in par 5 scoring, and he's fifth in strokes gain total. So it really just depends on the course. He's able to figure it out. That's one of the main reasons why I really like Justin Thomas as a play this week. I think he'd be a really nice starting point as well, because this is a week where you really can do studs and duds, and so you could easily fit JT into your builds. Now, if you didn't want to start with JT, I would suggest starting with Xander Schauffele. We know the great recent form that Xander has been in, but what you might not know is how well he has done in no-cut events. 2nd, 6th, 14th, and 2nd. That is absolutely phenomenal. He has just been really great in no-cut events, actually. Been really great in recent form as well over the past 2 months. His lowest finish has been T25. Everything else has pretty much been a top 10 finish. So Xander at this price point, it is a little bit juiced up, but I really like him as a play this week. You can either start at JT or Xander. And then after that, I do like Terrell Hanna. I do like Daniel Berger. Terrell Hanna's a little bit too hit or miss, but he could easily go out and get a top 10 finish, which would be great. If you don't feel safe with that, you could go Daniel Berger. He seems a little bit more safe. Don't know if he has as much upside. Both of them are going to be great plays given their price point. So I'd kind of split those two 50-50 in some builds. After that, we'll drop it down to the mid-tier. So the mid-tier, I don't overly love. We got Sungjae Im here, who Sungjae Im actually sets up as like the best stat fit. That is mostly because he's played 3 events. So he's the one with the most solid stats out of anyone in this tournament. So played pretty well recently. T13, T28, and a 22nd finish at the U.S. Open. So nothing great, but nothing horrible. Really solid stat fit. Top 5 in total driving and ball striking. He's been scoring on par 5s. Where he lacks is really only putting, where he ranks 106. Everything else is T55 or better. So I do like Sungjae Im again this week. Fine price point. Harris English, he did kind of let us down with that -6 finish, which wasn't bad. It just wasn't enough. The last time he played a no-cut event, he finished T12. That's his only no-cut event history. But Harris English, if we get 4 events out of him, it's hard to imagine him not getting at least a T20 finish or better. Obviously, we've seen his upside. He could easily get a top 10, and it's no one's going to be shocked. Don't mind Abraham Manser at his price point. Getting to the mid-tier, Paul Casey, Brennan Todd, don't mind those plays, but kind of a sneaky play, one that I alluded to earlier, is going to be Alexander Norn. So not the best stat fit. Doesn't have any no-cut event recent history as well, but pretty solid recent form. T17, T40, T8, T22, T9, and T3. So we've seen that upside with him. 3 of his last 6 starts have been top 10 finishes. And overall last season, he played really well, only missing 4 cuts. So, Alexander Norn, I wish he was cheaper. I wish he was a value play, which is why I won't be on him like over aggressively, but I do really like him as a play at this price point. And then going down, SEBASTIAN MUNOZ right here. So SEBASTIAN MUNOZ is kind of a sneaky play. I really like him. He's a guy that typically really does play well in the fall. He has played well at no-cuts events. The last 3 have been an 8th, 14th, and 17th finish, which if he does that at this price point, that's going to pay off for you. But in pretty solid recent form, T27, T23, made the cut at the U.S. Open, T8 at the Tour Championship, and then T8 at the BMW Championship. So been really solid. He's typically just turns it up in the fall. I don't know. He's just a fall golfer. Not the best stat fit, but given his price point, I don't think we have to worry about that too much. If he gets a T20 finish, we're going to be happy with that. And then dropping it a little bit lower, Matt Kuchar. So Matt Kuchar is my favorite quote-unquote value play. He's priced at 6.9. Pretty decent for no-cut events. Top 25. 22nd and 14th finish. So if he just gets the top 25 finish at this event, that'll pay off the salary. Now, his stats have been trending in the right direction. He's been getting better. He's a lot better than he was last year. Last year, he kind of struggled, but so far this year, he's been playing a lot better. His stroke gain approach has been better. His putting has been better. Ranks out as the top 30 stat fit. Recent form has been all right. He really struggled at the U.S. Open, but that's really not a course for him. Other than that, been pretty solid. The past few events, so it does seem like he's someone that could be on track to have a comeback year after a down year last year. And then after that, we can go a little bit lower as well. There's 2 plays that kind of stood out to me. Brendan Steele, I really like, just ball striking and total driving the ball really well currently. He's actually first in birdie to bogey ratio as well. Ranks out as a top 12 stat fit this week. Doesn't have any no-cut event history in the last 4 events that I'm looking at, but Great recent form. Even the -6 last week. Sure, it wasn't enough to make the cut, but he still shot -6 in 2 rounds. That's pretty solid. Before that, a bunch of made cuts in a row and a bunch of solid finishes. If he just gets a top 30 finish at this price point, which the stats are indicating that he should be able to do, he's going to grade out and really outproduce his salary. So Brendan Steele, I do like as a play. And then Harry Higgs. Harry Higgs is popping as well. He's another guy who just barely missed a cut. Played well. -6, not bad. The week before that, he had finished 2nd overall. And then he had a T11 finish at the Northern Trust as well. So been playing pretty solid golf as of recent. We get him for 4 rounds, so that means we can get him for 4 rounds of scoring. Don't have to worry about that missed cut. He's a top 15 stat fit as well. Doesn't have any no-cut event history at the last 4 events that we're looking at, but still at this price point, Harry Higgs is well worth the risk that's associated with him. Then just one more kind of okay punt play. It's going to be Tom Hoge. He's just been making it, a decent amount of cuts. He's a fine play. So his last 3 tournaments have been T30 or better finishes, which is fine. If he does that at this price point, we're going to like it. At 6.1, I think that's worth the risk if you're just trying to fit in a bunch of studs. But that's all I have for you guys this week. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in joining 9 to 5 Nation, it is $10 a month. We had added in something new to the membership. It's actually called the Super Simple Stat Sheet. And I'll pull it up here for you guys. So the Super Simple Stat Sheet is exactly what it sounds like. Just really combining recent form, course history, stat fit, and then all that shows you our model ranks. So when I say someone's checking all the boxes, like John Rahm, that pretty much says that they're in great recent form, the course history is checking out, and the stat fit is checking out. He's checking all the boxes. So it's just another piece that we're adding to the puzzle for you guys on the 9 to 5 Sports page. All right, hope you guys join. If you don't, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing. Thanks.